Maybe having blocks, blanket, bolster, and strap. And we all share in common the mind-body system. And there's this correlation between the mind and the body. When the body is relaxed, the stresses from the mind start to fall away, and vice versa. So in tonight's practice, if you're feeling tight in a certain body part, give yourself a little extra time in the pose to let go of that tension. If you find your mind wandering off into the future or the past, stirring up mental agitation, bring your attention back to the breath or the sensations you're feeling. Notice the sensations you feel in the neck and shoulders right now. What would happen if your arms became 20% heavier and they started to sink away from the neck? So we also have this correlation when we work on one body part, the rest of the body is impacted. So as you relax the shoulders even more, let the arms become heavier. There's a ripple effect that runs through the body. The whole nervous system initiates a relaxation response around and beyond the area we're focused on. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Let your attention flow into the throat. Unlock the jaw. Let the muscles and nerves of the jaw go limp and relaxed. And notice how the throat opens up. The breath moves easily when we relax the jaw. Bring your attention to your tongue, that muscle inside the mouth that's constantly twitching, moving, tasting, swallowing. What would it be like to let the tongue relax, sink to the bottom of the mouth? So just notice this relationship between relaxing in a local area to create a global relaxation. Relax locally, feel it globally. Exhale, gently come forward and grab your blocks Set your blocks up at the top of the mat. Bringing the right foot forward, walking the left knee back and dropping the left foot. So starting to feel the hips and the thighs here. Make sure your back knee is padded. Don't want any pressure on the kneecap if you can help it. If it feels comfortable, leave it where it is. And notice the angle of the thigh out of the hip. If there's too much sensation, gently push the hip backward and create more of a perpendicular angle. But if you feel like you want a little more sensation in that back thigh and right hamstring, come forward. Feel the weight pour forward. And be a scientist here. Experiment. Just move the hips with little micro movements and just notice, is there any micro adjustments that work for me? Maybe even the position of the blocks. Just explore. And then consider bringing 1 or 2 blocks inside that right foot on a lower level and just notice, does that change in height work? Experiment. So while astronauts fly out into outer space, when we do yoga, we become somanauts. We dive into the sensations we're feeling, and there's an infinite inner space as there is an infinite outer space. Where our attention goes, the energy flows. If at any time you feel invited to come down onto the elbows, you can. And notice how each adjustment affects your thigh in a different way. The front thigh starting to feel more sensation as you go deeper. What would it be like to relax the head in this position? To let the head gently drop and feel the back of the neck traction out. What happens to the sensations in the shape in the thighs when the head relaxes? What's the impact globally when you make a small adjustment locally? Exhale, walk the hands back, bring that right knee back, and hold tabletop here. Hold tabletop. Close your eyes and dive into your thighs. Notice the impact inside the left thigh after that time in dragon. And then gently roll the hips in a circle. Bringing back circulation. And because so many of you have worked with me for a long time now, I want you to start considering doing your yoga spontaneously in different situations. Not in a yoga class, but if you find yourself in a space where you can just move the body, start to use these spaces through the day. Work on that stress as you bring the left foot forward. Bring the blocks back up and adjust that back knee. New thigh, new sensations. Be a scientist. Put yourself in the petri dish and start to make micro probes into that inner space. Micro missions. Where do you feel it? What about a gentle twist to one side? How does that feel? What adjustments do I need to make that would be appropriate? Perhaps bringing my hands onto the thigh or a chair. Or perhaps going deeper. Coming forward slowly. And when you found your resting area, trace with your inner eye, trace where do you feel the most sensation right now? Which part of the thigh or the knee or the foot? The back? And see if you can trace the shape of that tension. What's the shape? Where's the center of that tension? Does the center remain static? Or does it move when you put your attention on it? What's the qualities of the tension? Does it feel fiery and alive? Or dull and thick? Does it have a shape? Dive into your experience. And look around to see if there's a little bit of joy in there. Is there a little bit of joy in that corner? Or over there? Scoop up the joy. And then exhale, bring that hands back, knees back, and come all the way onto the belly, stacking the hands, crocodile pose, toes pointed out, Charlie Chaplin feet. And feel the thighs, feel the echo in the thighs. as you lay there. And just for a moment, turn the head to the left and rest the cheek on the stacked hands. And then turn the cheek to the other side. And notice as the thighs cool off, how the sensations change in the thighs. Bring the head back to neutral. Prop the elbows underneath the shoulders close enough so that the hands can reach the upper arms. And then if you have the luxury of a block handy, drop the head onto the block and relax the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. More deeply. Keep imagining the shoulders are like chocolate in the hot sun and they're melting. So the longer you stay here, the more you remember the shoulders, the more you let them melt. Until you're left just with the bones of the elbows propping you up in the block. And keeping that molten chocolate feeling in the shoulders, lift the head, walk the elbows out a little wider. And bring the hands to the edges of the mat. Drop the chin for a moment, stretch the back of the neck, and then slowly straighten the arms like a crane picking up a big load. Feel the load of the torso held and supported by the struts, these bones coming out of the molten shoulders. Shoulders stay relaxed, but the bones of the arm like strong wooden beams, propping you up. Feel the low back as you feel propped up. And then be a scientist. What can you do in this shape that would be interesting? Perhaps a little head movement. Perhaps walking the hands into a different position, either relieving the intensity or adding to the intensity. Exhale, release, let the elbows come back to the earth, stack the hands, rest the forehead on stacked hands. And then coming into half frog, where half frog is one of the most calming poses in the yin package. Bring that left knee out to the side of the mat, resting the knee and ankle joint, perhaps on a blanket if you have a hard floor, or if you have a carpet floor, just resting it on the carpet. If your upper body is okay, bring the hands out into goalpost arms. and rest the side of the head onto the mat. Let those chocolatey shoulders keep melting so that your torso, your upper body, starts to melt into the mat. So whenever the belly and torso are resting against the earth, it's like coming home. There's a settling, a relief, a letting go. If for any reason you feel any discomfort in the shape, what could you do to adjust the shape so that you can experience that letting go, especially in the shoulders? Feeling it in the shoulders locally, spreads it globally into the hips and low back. This would be the perfect time if you had a little cat or a light dog to rest on your back, and you'd feel the weight of the animal massaging into your low back. The closest we can come is to take the right hand behind your back and rest the right hand on the low back. You can tuck the waistline, tuck the fingers into the waistline of the pants, and as you relax that right arm, you feel the weight soothe the low back, potentially. If that's not soothing, where could you put that right arm that would be delightful? To get even more sensation, more weight, you can invite the other arm back so that both arms rest deeply onto the low back. Let the shoulders and the neck melt. Let the tension from the neck go. And remember the jaw, the muscles and nerves in the jaw. Let the jaw go limp. Dive deeply into your nervous system. Just notice how the nervous system is responding. Lying on the floor is deeply comforting, or can be very comforting, when the belly is against the earth. Let yourself feel comforted, safe. And just be present for the next breath. Following these 8 words to take you deeper inside. 8 words with 8 movements of the breath. In, out, breathe, relax. Nourishing breath, letting go. This next breath, this wonderful breath, feeling those 8 mantras with each breath. Gently release the hands if you haven't already. Bring the hands under the forehead. And put on your scientific cap. Little micro movements with the head, left and right, up and down. Release the neck. Notice the impact of releasing the neck. Or a little micro movement with that left knee coming out a little further from the body, opening up that left thigh even more. Or how about bringing the elbows up a little higher, relaxing the shoulders even more. Or spreading the toes of the right foot, noticing the sensations that brings. An infinite number of possibilities in each experience. Exhale, bring that left knee back to the mat. And feel the lingering sensations. Feel how the sensations linger in that left hip, left thigh, after the shape is dissolved. Come to the other side. Bringing the right knee up. Goalpost arms, turning the hip. Giving yourself time to settle in. Use any supports or adjustments that would help. Remembering you can bring that left arm onto the low back for a little weight, a little grounding. And then the right arm, if that's appropriate. And then letting go of the tension in the neck and shoulders. Letting that tension transfer into weight on the low back. So tension, letting go of tension morphs into weight and heaviness. A kind of gravity field is embedded inside of us when we relax. We gravitate to the earth. We sink into the earth. When you're ready, remove the hands, resting the forehead on stacked hands. And then once again, diving into the body, becoming a somnonaut once again. Notice that right thigh. Does it want to go out further? Noticing the neck, does it like to turn from side to side? Or drop the chin? Or did you notice the shoulders may have tensed up a little bit? Where did that tension come from? Can I let gravity melt me back into the earth? Bringing that right knee back. Let the sensations echo. Feel the echo. And then gently coming onto your back. You might have to change your feet to the top of the mat. Bring the knees together, feet apart, TP pose. And feel the inner thighs as they move from abduction to adduction. Feel how the tension in the inner thighs immediately contrasts to that big stretch of half frog. And notice how the low back responds to this. The low back, like the shoulders in the hot sun melting. Let the low back melt. Where your attention goes, the energy flows. So we're training ourselves to focus. Because what you focus on gets bigger. Gets closer. Becomes more real. Holding your focus on a particular point strengthens the mind's ability to focus. Just practicing focusing in your yoga is significant. If you do have a bolster handy, bring the bolster underneath your hips. Press down with the feet, lift the hips. Rest the bolster. And if you have a strap handy, grab a strap. Lift the left foot into the air and bring the strap into the left foot. And lower the foot away from the head, so your foot is coming lower rather than higher. Curling the toes back so you feel a stretch in the calf muscle. And then pick up your right knee and cross your right ankle over the left knee. So you create a little figure 4 here. I don't know if you can see that on the video. I'll just turn a little bit so you can see what I've done here. I've created a little figure 4. My right ankle is over the left knee. Left foot is in the strap. And now start to pull back on the strap so you feel the figure 4 coming back towards your ribs. And you're holding the strap. Now you don't want too much sensation here. You want enough sensation that you're feeling interested and attracted to the sensation, not afraid of, not recoiling from it. So if you're grimacing, back off a little bit. And if you're not feeling anything, add a little bit of fire. And if you're fluctuating between the two, just make micro adjustments. Micro adjustments like you're trying to land the space shuttle onto the space station. Tiny micro adjustments, just right, nosing it in there. Now you might find over a period of time that you want to go deeper. Or you may find, oh, that's enough, I'm going to back off. So notice over time what happens. Noticing how the strap on the hands affects the hands. You If you need to rest the hands at any time, do so. Let's do 5 more breaths here. And in that 5 breaths, decide, do you want more intensity or less intensity or the same intensity? You slowly relax the strap. Drop that left and right foot back to the mat. And stretch the legs out. Reach the arms over the head. Reverse, clasp the fingers, interlace the fingers, and reverse the palms away. Just stretch out. Whew. Grab the strap, bring the strap into the right foot. Curl the toes back and start to lower the foot towards the ground so you feel a more delicious stretch in the calf muscle. Toes curled back. And then find that left ankle and cross it over the right knee. And this can be a very different hip to work with, very different low back situation. So pull back on the strap nice and slowly. And notice what happens. Notice where the deliciousness fades into your edge. Delicious discomfort. Keep working that right foot back, toes curled back. Relax the tongue. Five more breaths on this side. And gently release. Release the right foot back to the floor. Extend the legs. Bend both knees, lift the hips and remove the bolster. Cross the left knee over the right knee. Preparing for a lumbar twist. Before we come into the lumbar twist, rotate the left foot. Turn the left foot in the opposite direction. And then push down through the right heel, lift the pelvis into the air. Twist onto the right hip, let the knees come to the right. So here we have the lumbar twist. If you bring your left hand onto the low back and the left glute, this is where all the stretch is. There's a tendency for that area to react and tighten. See if you can gently massage it to relax. Just letting that area know that your attention is there. You're just inviting that area to relax, even though there's a big stretch. Relax the knees. And see if relaxing the knees helps. See if you can feel the contrast. So relaxing the knees sends that relaxation into that right glute, left glute area. Five more breaths. And then on the fifth breath, make your way back slowly. Be curious how you return to your back. Like you were Hansel and Gretel, you got lost in the woods and now you're following the return journey back. How do you get back? Pause for a moment before you switch and bring the right knee over the left. Start to rotate that right foot. And then push down with the left foot, lift the pelvis. Tilt the pelvis to the left, knees to the left. And notice this similar phenomena when we come into that deep low stretch on the low right side, the glutes, the back. There's a reaction by the body to resist letting go. So choose the knees or the feet. Let the feet relax. Let the knees relax. And notice how that relaxation response helps that area. Even relaxing the pinky finger. Sends a wave of relaxation globally all the way back to the pelvis, to the lower back. What you put your attention on gets bigger. let your focus come all the way into the midst of the sensation in your right glute. See if you can find the center. Where it feels most intense. See if you can work out the shape of the area of intensity. Does it have a shape? Some of my artist friends might notice, does it seem to have a color or texture? And then be curious as you let this go. How do you move your legs, your knees, as you gently roll onto your back? Spread eagle the hands and the legs into pentacle pose. Gently turn the head to the left. Inhale the head to neutral. Exhale the head to the right. And then let the head come back to neutral. If you need to support the head with a blanket or towel, do so. And once again, where your attention goes, the energy flows. In, out, breathe, relax, nourishing breath, letting go. This next breath, this wonderful breath. Let your attention find the breath. Let your attention notice if the body wants to stay in this Shavasana longer or not. If you're ready to transition, gently bend the knees and stand the feet on the mat. You might roll to one side. And then gently press up. And finding a seat. Noticing how tall you've become. Feeling your verticality. Namaste. Thanks, folks, for sharing your Monday evening with me.